Welcome, everyone, to Musings with Maddox. This is Maddox Klausinger, and my co host is joining me, the Sappy Sorcerer. All right, so tonight we're going to be talking about Martin Scorsese, which I was, as far as like making notes for today's podcast, I was amazed at how many movies that he made that I liked. And I don't know if I could say that for all the directors. I'm sure there's some if I tally it up. And because of that, depending on how today goes, I feel like just to give proper respect to Marty, we could do a part 2 next week.
Not against that.
So one of the movies, and I know you'll laugh at me, and I don't know, what was it? It was 1985.
Color
Right,
Money.
was
Color
yeah.
Money.
And that I love that movie. I know I talked to you about that.
I feel
This
like After Hours was 1985. I think Color Money was 87.
Okay, well,
Not
I'm sure
just
if we get a fact checker, yeah, but certainly in that time period,
a sequel to The Hustler, a legacy sequel to The Hustler.
right? And I learned that after, and because Paul Newman was in the first one, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
It
you
was a
said a
sequel.
legacy sequel, so what is that? Is that a kind of a spiritual? It's not a direct.
A spiritual sequel is a sequel. It's in the same vein, but not the same. Like same creative content. Jumanji, Zathura. Zathura is it's like a spiritual sequel, but it's not Jumanji. Not the same actors, not the same characters, but it feels like
Zathra is a sequel.
it's a spiritual sequel.
Okay,
So,
I think I heard of that. What is? Tell
Red
me
Dead
about that.
Redemption. So, Red Dead Redemption. Before that came out, there was a game called Red Dead Revolver, which
I remember. Yep.
Rockstar purchased from someone else, and then eventually they used the foundation of the game to develop Red Dead Redemption. So it would be a spiritual sequel, where a legacy sequel is something where I'd say outside the normal parameters of a sequel. Cause what would you say? Like after so Batman's about to be 6 years. Maybe after 10, it's kind of considered like
What do you mean
Devil Wear
Batman's going to be 6 years
Batman
since?
Part 2 will be 6 years since Part 1. That's just a delay. I'm a little frustrated,
For
but
real? It's been that long?
yes, and they've been working on the Batman since Batman vs Superman. So
Oh wow.
sometimes it's a good thing because if it's going to be the best possible Batman movie, then by all means, especially if they continue the trajectory.
Well, I know
But
we're going off a tangent here, but what the heck is taking him so long with that?
script, but also there's a shakeup currently in Warner Brothers with whether or not they're being bought by Netflix, Warner Brothers. And the head of DC is James Gunn, and The Batman is a Elseworlds project, which is not part of the main slate of films, because James Gunn also has the potential to have
So
another
they just got
Batman.
the license for Batman to make the movie.
No, 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 no. It's still being made by DC. It's just James Gunn has the ability to incorporate his own Batman. So there's been curiosity because he was brought in after the Batman started, but the Batman's been the most profitable DC film, so they don't want to merge it with the main universe. It's confusing. A lot of people don't know if there was going to be a Batman Part 2.
Hmm.
And also, it took a long time for the first one to come out. I can, because
Really?
Matt Reeves has a very based on the Batman, he has a David Fincher feel, and I feel if he was going to go that,
Yes, like the Seven. It
yeah,
definitely
if
with the
he's going to,
detective scenes. Yep.
and if you think about that movie, it's a 3 hour detective movie, and I'm like, well, a good detective story,
It was that long. See, I that's how much I enjoyed it. I
yeah,
don't.
no, yeah, so getting back to legacy sequels, I would say legacy sequels like after 10 years, Devil Wears Prada 2. That
Hmm.
Devil's Wears Prada came out
Just came out.
2000. Yeah, that came out 2005, 20 years.
Hmm.
Psycho 2.
20 year. You know what? I'm like.
Yeah, 20
You're
years.
just shooting out facts here, and I'm
Yep.
like, are you serious?
Psycho was 22
Wow.
years between Psycho and Psycho 2, but
So
I
you're
love
saying
Psycho.
that's when it's kind of seen as okay
No, no, no,
to
no, not
bring
okay. It's just that's where I
to.
would say it would become a legacy sequel. A legacy sequel sometimes incorporates elements from the original, maybe pushed forward by the new generation, coming to America too, or
Yeah, definitely a different feel.
not. And
So,
each of them has its own, or what the Happy Gilmore too. You know, it's like to bring it contemporary.
mm, Beverly
But
Hills Cop.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a legacy
So those
because
are called legacy sequels.
there's so much time passed from them. Like Rocky Balboa, I could say is on the shorter end of a legacy sequel. It was 16 years after.
And that's still a long period of time. But
Exactly, but no,
so
but after a decade, I feel like it could be a qualified just because it's come and gone out of the pop lexicon.
so with the Hustler and the Color of Money, what
Hmm.
how much of a time period was that?
Hustler is 1950 something, so maybe or 60, so it could have been 20 years. Because I think the
Okay, I see what you're saying. And so
biggest gap,
this was a legacy or a spiritual? I forgot what you said.
legacy, since the same characters. So this would be in the same vein as
Oh, it
Top
is. Okay.
Gun Maverick or Blade
Okay.
Runner 2049.
Okay.
Original characters from the
Which I
movie.
think they're making another one. I
Yeah,
think Blade
a,
Runner.
ri- so Paul Newman returns, but the movie's about Tom Cruise. That's the legacy sequel aspect. He's the new ups dark kid 20 years later
It's
trying to
about
go.
both of them, but yeah, of course, like yeah,
Lion
the
King,
next gen here, yeah,
even
but
Top Gun with Rooster. He
mhm.
was going to beat Maverick, or not beat Maverick, or Tron Legacy,
And look at that, right? Tom Cruise in there too, right?
or
Like the
yeah,
kind of the
Blade
passing
Runner,
of the torch, yeah.
Blade Runner,
Harrison
Ryan
Ford,
Gosling, and
yeah.
then the nice twist of that one, which that was a very well made twist there.
Just with Scorsese, I guess
Oh
he
yeah,
was.
no, we're only 2 minutes in, so we're not that off topic.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like some little, and we had someone that joined us, Orbit. Welcome.
Welcome, Orbit.
Um, we'll try to best to stay on topic because it's just like it's the whole theme is
Martin
it's
Scorsese, A
yeah.
Hustler, Color of Money. What did you like most about the movie? Because you were saying I was going to think that
I
was funny,
you
but
know
I
it's
knowing it's a Scorsese movie, so
it doesn't yeah it does and that's
like
what
me
just
liking
the
Psycho 2 sounds stupid because I prefer a Richard
mhm.
Franklin movie to Hitchcock, but it's a Scorsese sequel.
It's the
So
range of his talent that I think you and I talked about.
is
It just doesn't
Scorsese,
feel
or are
like
we
a Scorsese.
talking
I'm just talking about the movie itself and just how it doesn't. And I don't even know what a Scorsese movie feels like, but I'm sure we could talk to. You could probably share like what some of his signatures are. But as far as the movie itself, I am biased towards what do you call it? Aging men
call that the
that are
Unforgiven
trying to
syndrome?
still stay in the game.
Yeah.
You know, these are top of their
You've probably
element,
loved
competitive.
you probably love every Legacy sequel then. That's why I like Top Gun. That's why.
Well,
No,
yeah,
no,
I like that one
that's me being
because
facetious. I'm just
that
kidding.
to me was serious. Happy Gilmore 2 and Beverly Hills Cop were just joke sequels, just to kind of make it.
What
It
do you
didn't
expect from
coming
I
to
feel like
America. I mean, they're comedies as well. Just to
I
credit
feel
that
it's a lower
genre, they
bar.
are comedies.
It might be a lower, not that comedy's easier, it's just maybe for it to
Where
get produced is a lower
where yeah,
bar.
where Top Gun was okay. We're gonna have a good script. We're gonna make a movie that the audience will enjoy versus okay, let's plug as many of the cast that were in these original movies.
Oh
Like, what
yeah.
did they dig up? John Taggart. What is his name?
Yeah.
I mean, he looked
Uh
horrible. He looked
yeah,
very slim and gaunt. I don't know if Judge Reinhold looked good,
it's the
looked
so the
better, but
legacy
just
legacy sequel can be considered the cinematic equivalent of a TV reunion episode. And those are
yeah,
famous for not
yeah,
everyone looking good. Maybe one or two people does because life
yeah.
happens.
What
And
was it, Matthew Perry or what the hell was it? Friends?
oh
There
well,
was
he
something.
passed away.
No,
Matthew
it was it.
or Joey was
Yeah,
it?
there was somebody that there was real criticism. Maybe it was Joey
He
Matt
put on a
LeBlanc.
lot
I
of
guess
weight.
maybe the
Yeah.
weight. I guess yeah, I don't know.
Oh well, that
Um,
but he was like it fits his. guy. Hey, how we doing, Benjamin?
Yeah,
Um,
welcome. We're
but
just
that
talking about
well, that's and the other thing, people, that's when they see people pictures of people skinny, and then sometimes the internet cues in angry, sometimes people just let it go. It's just the natural state of things. People always make comments. Like if you haven't been
yeah.
seen, you look like a model. They're like, oh, this transformation to shadow work. And if you let yourself go, you're like this tragic fall of what. Like no matter
You know
what,
what, that
it's
that is a fair statement of the craft
narratives. It's
where
narratives.
yeah, I mean where some people, I mean, look, I didn't care for Beverly Hills Cop the 4, but some people like, hey, look, that I love that comedy. I love the way they did that.
I
You
want to
know,
see them all
I
together.
mean
I don't.
I
It's
mean,
not my favorite one, but I'm glad it's in the series. They're all still
yeah,
alive. They get
clearly there
to.
were people that put this thing together and produced it. So, that
It
of
didn't
course
take any
gets
money
credit.
out of my pocket. It only added to the
I think that was
subscription.
Netflix. Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Um,
like Eddie Murphy. I've been
yeah.
hoping for him to have a major comeback because he had a large slump. For somebody who had as many failures as he did, not saying this to throw any shade, he still managed to have movies made.
Failures, what, like
Box office slump.
uh, late
Significant.
90s, 2000s, like all that
More
stuff.
2000s. It's like when towards the end, he
And
was the
Haunted
most.
Mansion, how did he do on that? I don't, was that,
I kind of. He, as
is it
becoming an older
Pluto
father.
Nash? What the hell
Yeah,
is,
as a father, he was becoming more child-oriented or family-oriented films, which is fair, but I was growing older and I like
yes,
and I think he wanted to
you
make
like that raw edged
he wanted to
Eddie
make
Murphy.
he wants to make a comeback to it, but it's kind of hard for him not to because of what he's been through. But at the same time, like Eddie,
Are you saying been through like on his personal life or just career wise?
just life-wise, but also I'd say when you're acting, you've been acting so long that you know the process of acting. You kind of know going into the set what to expect. You have expectations and you even put different effort. That's why so many times people have that raw acting energy. Like Harvey Keitel is so good in early Martin Scorsese films. Harvey Keitel is always good, but
He was in
uh,
Mean Streets,
he
right?
was good. I mean, yeah, like
And
I
Taxi
mean,
Driver, he was the pimp.
it was the pimp.
Yeah,
He
I mean, what did he actually grow long hair and they put a wig on him? But it
he
was
was
just,
also in Martin Scorsese's first movie, Who's That Knocking on My Door? It was a '60s movie, very very artsy. I'm sure if you watched it, you'd be like, okay, this is somebody making a film for the first time, like which it was. It is Bill Cosby now, hopefully.
what does that mean? Spanish fly, that a
I think,
phrase? But I agree with your statement with the Judge Reinhold and Taggart.
yeah,
But maybe you could just put in the chat. I don't, oh, because Bill Cosby, right? Didn't he have a comedy career, and then he kind of switched to more of that lighthearted family
yeah.
comedy with his
Well,
show. So
he
maybe
had
that
the
was the
and
maybe it was a more of an
not just that.
edgier.
That was the number one show on television, or one of the top shows.
Yeah,
Like very, very. The unfortunate thing for Bill Cosby is the fact that the actors, producers, everyone on that show has to feel his legacy for his mistake, and their show is not available to watch. That's
yeah.
my frustrations with canceling movies or uh, so far, there's only one movie that I know that I won't watch is just Paris. Last Tango in Paris, just because there's scenes in there where there's unconsensual stuff done by Marlon Brando to the actress, and she had said things about this, and nobody had done anything. She died, and then
You're
later he
talking about the power of an actor and the influence they have on set and in the
no
industry,
no
like Marlon Brando's character or
no
person, him
a,
himself.
no, a director and an actor conspired to make an actress do something that she didn't want to do, and then filmed it and then put it in the movie. And that's still in
What?
the movie. It involves part of the female anatomy and a stick of butter.
Well, I
And
mean,
no, but
I
it was
wasn't
no,
asking about the scene,
no,
but
it
just what
wasn't.
is the movie called?
I Last
Butter
Tango in
scene. Okay,
Paris.
Benjamin seems quite knowledgeable here. All
Yeah.
right,
Oh, well,
man.
I put I had a comment. I had a
What's the
comment.
name of that movie? Just
Last Tango in Paris. Last Tango in Paris.
okay.
That's one of those ones that's weird where the woman spoke out about it. Nothing was done. And it was years later. Marlon was gone, the woman was gone, and the director is like, "Yeah, I really regret it." And then people looked into it after he mentioned it. and it had been, but it was just it's one of those moments where it's like method acting and all that, and even Scorsese, like with like as a director, he wants authenticity,
So
and
what, like with this is a controversial, like the issue with, like, as Brando and the controversial actor, certainly Bill Cosby's career. What is it, Harvey Weinstein? So these are looks like, at least the ones I describe, are men. I'm sure, I believe there's women, in the
oh yeah,
industry, but I'm just thinking of men here. They very powerful, very successful, good artists, but then they do something in their personal life, and then that kind of
it
casts a
was
shadow, I
it was
guess.
more it was more of a series of it was more of I think it was Weinstein and Cosby are kind of hard to put in with one person making a mistake because this was more their careers. This is
What
not
was
just.
who was the mistake? Brando?
No, Brando is always weird. So Brando, that was
Weird.
no, no, but that's nicest way to say it. Or
Yeah,
different.
just a
I'm
strange
sorry.
guy.
That was a bit
No, I
charged.
don't care. That's fine.
No,
I mean,
no,
it's just a
I
strange guy,
that's more for
right?
me. That's more for me because I'm called weird and I
Uh-huh.
so
He
but
was seen as unusual as far as his habits in Hollywood, I guess.
yes, very strange person. But the fact that you're gonna start putting butter on people's private areas without their consent and like the director
Hmm.
wants you to do it and it's part of the scene and it's like not agreed upon beforehand and they kind of just do it.
And that's why
That's
I guess things like that. What do they have? What do you call?
They have intimacy coordinators now, yes, but
Yes,
this
yes,
was in the 70s and
right.
that's the thing, like when you look back in the past, so that specific movie is like I can't watch it for the scene.
Okay.
There's other movies like Cannibal Holocaust, this famous movie. It's supposed to be so intense and offensive. The only thing that really bothers me is there's like animal cruelty for no reason in it. Like there's a scene where a guy just separates a turtle from a shell. Nothing to do with the plot. You have no
I
reason
think you
why
were
it's
telling me about this, and this was an actual animal that was
actual animal
harmed and tortured.
tortured because they were in the woods and then they just said, "Oh, let's do it." And they filmed it
Uh,
and I when I saw the movie I wanted to see the uncut version, but like I did not expect to be bothered that much. I like to think that I have a high tolerance. Not that I like seeing things like that, but I was like it
I
just
think, yeah, it's probably
felt
because,
bothered,
like, there's
unnecessary. And
there's the art on film, and then there's what it takes to make that.
oh yeah,
And I think that's what. Okay.
Cannibal Holocaust is very rough. The music is so good though. I
When
won't
did
lie. The
that when did that
soundtrack,
come out? I think, is that a
1980, that came out in
okay?
the
That's what I
Grindhouse.
was thinking about.
And that was part of a very, very, very small niche genre of cannibal zombie movies set in New York that didn't take off, but there were quite a few of them that happened around that time. Cannibal
Zombie
zombie,
movies in New York.
cannibal zombie movies around New York.
Cannibal zombie. Well,
I
I guess,
have to emphasize that cannibal zombie. They were very
meaning
over
what,
the
they're eating
top.
other zombies or eating other.
No, they're not people. They're like cannibal. Well, I mean, yeah, I'm
So they're
sorry,
called like a.
but they'll be
Well, I
like
guess
cannibal.
the
Uh,
emphasis of the zombie.
So they have the zombies, but they also had like the Cannibal Holocaust is like a documentary film crew goes to film this tribe in the rainforest, and then they actually go out of their way and start messing with them, burn their village, and then eventually they all come and kill the people. So it's like you're not really too upset about like the movie's not offensive. It's like well these documentary filmmakers literally just came in and burned their village down for video content and but then and in the middle of nowhere there's a turtle that's getting killed. You're like okay. Goblin did not do the soundtrack for that. Goblin worked more with Dario Argento, but I think maybe somebody worked with Goblin. Benjamin asks, Goblin is a progressive rock group that did a lot of music for Dario Argento and Italian horror movies. Giallo, very good. um, they were very influenced by progressive rock and progressive rock group themselves. But I want to get
All
back to
right.
Scorsese. I'm
Yeah, I
sorry.
was just going to.
I feel like we
Um,
can always tell when we're like, all
no, yeah, I think tangents
right.
are fine, but just
So the
but
Color of Money you said was one of your favorites. How about top five, or just five, and then if you want to, or five
yeah.
you had, and maybe five you want to see, or do you, whatever.
Well, the what is it, King of
Color Money.
Comedy? I'm just the
King of,
ones I want to see.
King of Comedy. You need to see that. You will
Probably his
you will
first
you
movie.
you will watch King of Comedy and then say, "Wow, this is exactly like the Joker." In fact, this is Joker. Joker's not
Right,
that
you were
original as the
telling me and
movie.
how they
You're
did
like, not that
the
that's a bad.
movie with
Yeah,
yeah.
and okay, but it's good. You will like it. Jerry Lewis and
Um,
Robert De Niro.
I literally have Wikipedia. I forget what his
No, that's fine.
filmography.
He's
Um,
he's
I
done a
don't
lot lately, so
Mean Streets. I forgot. I did see that. Um, After Hours. I think you recommended that.
that's a good one that you. It's a small movie that you wouldn't expect. In fact, you're watching it and you think Tim Burton would direct it, and then when you find out Tim Burton was in the list of names to direct it, you're like, okay.
So that was
He was in the
clearly
runnings for
with the
that.
producer, the screenwriter, what they were
Yeah,
looking for, kind of
well,
flavor.
because a thing also about Marty versus his contemporaries is I don't think he writes at all. He is not a writer. Not that I don't think that he's not capable of it. I just don't think he writes any of his movies. Like he
That
wrote
is interesting. So I guess
neither Spielberg. I don't think. I
so that
know
means yeah, because
Lucas
that's
and De
like
Palma are.
okay, so like the studio, they have the script, they want to make a movie, right? And then
Um,
they kind of
Not
they
always,
kind of get
but
a feel for, or is it
so
kind of a mutual? I'm wondering if perhaps let's say so hold on, like let's say Scorsese
Scorsese
found
was
something like maybe a book or something he wanted to adapt, and then he had somebody write it. Is kind of because could there be directors like that? Because I think that's what happened with. Just something I remember with Fight Club.
oh
I
yeah.
think who the
So
heck was it? Fincher, who directed. I think wanted to make that.
and then you found the writer, yeah. Oh yeah, so
Yeah,
that's the thing. You can do that. That's why I'd say Substack is probably the best opportunity for people to change their lives. It's not guaranteed that someone's gonna pick your book up and say, "I want to make this into a movie," but
no, but it's been
it's a
something.
creative.
This
No,
experience. Yeah.
it's a creative lottery, and you're just gambling your time. And either way, you have something to do with it. Uh, but with Marty, he doesn't. He worked a lot with Paul Schrader, who I love. He's an excellent writer. Paul Schrader wrote Taxi Driver. He also wrote Bringing Out the Dead. There's a very
Yes.
commonality in those movies. He
There's
direct,
this grittiness there, just
yes,
like you can feel it. I think they're both in New
he
York, right?
he that's his writing, and then he later
Hmm.
became a director. He did American Gigolo. He wrote The Yakuza, which I like a lot, with Robert Mitchum and Ken Takahura.
It's
He
like
was
you
in Black
feel
Panther.
the detail, the immersion in the streets. The
Schrader's a
day-to-day
great writer.
experience. Evening,
Schrader is great with Scorsese. Schrader and De Palma
right?
collaborated a few
So those were the
times.
two that he did with Scorsese, the
I think he might
screenwriter
have done
before.
more, or they might have, I think, or produced. But I know Schrader is one of those people that he's someone I need to look into their films because I've always been
So he was a
around.
screenwriter, then he became a filmmaker.
Yeah, he did a drama with Richard Pryor called Blue Collar. He did Hardcore with George C. Scott, which a father finds out his daughter is like a stripper or a prostitute. Very famous like uh, story. And American Gigolo was huge for him. And Schrader just he's just a little bit different, and he came up with Scorsese. So Scorsese and him had Taxi Driver. Schrader had Taxi Driver, I think, for a while, and Scorsese wanted to make it because they were coming up together. And the thing is, nobody was going to make that movie. And then I think Schrader got
Why?
a
Why
different,
was that? Was it just
no
the
interest.
elements, the weird, the psychopath, guy? How he's is it just kind of the theme, the vibe?
Not in, no
Plus, it's
interest in the
also what an
studio.
underage prostitute with Jodie Foster. Wasn't that a kind of a
That and
controversial symbolism?
nobody wanted to make it because they didn't know who the hell these guys were. Mean
The
Streets.
actors, the whole team.
Nobody knew who Scorsese was when he wanted to make
Oh,
Taxi
okay,
Driver.
okay. He was
He
just kind of
came back.
more
They
of an
circled back.
unknown
So
or
that's the
lesser
thing
known.
is, directors don't choose their
Because that was
careers.
what, late 70s, and
Yes,
that
but
was yeah.
the a
He
lot
didn't
of
make
his
Raging Bull yet.
no, Raging Bull was like his post suicide attempt movie, which brought him back to life in a very odd way. Me saying that Scorsese wanted to do Taxi Driver, and then they hadn't done any movies yet because his first movie is Who's That Knocking on My Door, which very student film. You'll watch it and you'll be like, okay, what the hell did I just watch? Not that it was bad,
You
but you're
got to
not gonna.
start somewhere, right? You got to
Right.
make.
He did Boxcar Bertha, which is a Roger Corman movie, so that is the ultimate school for film. How do you make a movie? Here's the title of a movie. Go make it. What about a script? Yep, that's you. That's you. He'll give you a poster and a date, and then you make the movie. That was
Just
it.
figure it out.
Yeah, John Carpenter. There's a whole school. James Cameron. They came from the Corman school. And it's not like Roger Corman ever made films, but you being a huge Stephen King fan, I think you'd appreciate the business side of Roger Corman being, I've got movies to make. They need to be out on this day. Swallow your fucking pride and make the damn movie.
So he was kind of focused on a speed
Yeah, not,
to
and he wasn't. I
production.
wouldn't say he was a dick about it, but he like was his goal was to make movies cheaply, quickly, and you got to learn. That was your benefit of working on one. They were nobody's. A lot of people did become
And he's a
something.
producer.
Oh yeah, very. He recently passed away. He was pretty 100 and something, but he produced lots and lots of stuff. Roger Corman also did the Fantastic Four, so the original,
How many
the
did he
90s.
do of Scorsese, or was it just
It was just Boxcar Bertha was like his intro, Scorsese's intro, and Boxcar Bertha was I think exploitation about I think it was like a woman in a box. I don't recall too much about it. Then he did Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, which famously became a sitcom, Alice, and that has Chris Christopherson in it. And there's a great line at the end of the movie where she's like, I don't know what I want or something. He's, well, tell me what you want, damn it. It's like one of those really good romance movies where the man's
yeah, I could see
masculine,
Christopherson doing that. Yep.
being masculine without being toxic in the 70s. That was a very
Right,
big thing for men in the 70s,
right.
which
Forward,
one,
strong, but respecting women, but they
and
know
that was
themselves. Yep.
Dustin Hoffman, Robert De Niro are leading men from that decade. They were established, right? Um,
So was De
Scorsese
Niro known a little bit more than Scorsese
at that
at
point,
that
yes,
time, or they were kind of like
yes.
kind of
De Niro started with De Palma, and they made three movies together.
really?
Yes, because Mean Streets was 73. De Palma and De Niro worked together in 67, 69, and 70 on three different comedies. So they worked together three times. None of them had become huge yet.
Wow.
And
De Niro started in the 60s. Wow.
yeah, and
Wow.
Scorsese getting Mean Streets made and that having the cult hit it did, because Mean Streets came out before so many movies that I think maybe achieved a bit better, but Mean Streets is a landmark movie, kind of like Bonnie and Clyde. It's something that changed the films after it. And as a result of him having that cachet, they gave him and Schrader the shot of Taxi Driver, and then Taxi Driver is a huge hit. And then he did New York, New York, and this was this giant, lavish musical, and the sets. It was supposed to look like it was made from the 40s.
Didn't see that. That's that New York, New York.
Liza Minnelli and Robert De Niro, and the song "New York, New York" is from that movie. Frank Sinatra covered Liza Minnelli, made it more famous than
Really?
she was. Yes,
Oh.
he covered a song and made covered a song from a failed Martin
What's that? The
Scorsese
New York
movie.
Yankees? I think they love that
They
song.
had
I
that
think.
up until recently. That was their
Really?
song. Yeah. The thing I love about that song is it's and Frank
And
Sinatra
then they
always
did a
said,
parody. I'm sorry, at Gremlins, right, or something.
"Oh yeah, they
Gremlins.
did." And the thing is, people think he wrote the song. He did not write the song. He covered it in
Yeah.
1980. He covered it in
Wow.
1980.
But it was
Um,
originally, you're saying, Eliza Minnelli,
it was
or
written
who?
for that movie,
Oh, okay, okay.
and it
But it was a
was
but it was an original song. Yeah.
yeah,
Or
it was a
okay.
throwback. It was a throwback to the 1940s, and it was like post-war Liza Minnelli. And the thing when you're watching it, which you
She's a
could
theater actress, right? Or
she was more of a musical theater actress. She's Judy Garland's daughter, so she was everywhere.
oh
Like when she
yeah,
really
that's right.
came into her own and she like owned decades.
Yeah.
She was very, very talented. Like, She's really good on Arrested Development if you wanted something like slightly more recent. She is a very, very talented human being. And the movie is so hard to watch because Robert De Niro's character is so aggressive in his approach to her that I feel physically uncomfortable because it's like she's enjoying herself and he keeps like harassing her. And eventually they start dating, but it like through the movie, it's such a troubled relationship and it's like you could tell from when they first met. Not saying that that's bad writing or anything. It's just it's what took me out of the movie. I love Scorsese's tastes. His tastes come through in his work, and you were saying earlier his style.
Yeah, talk to me about that. What is his signatures? What are his styles that he
So
uses in his
I
movies?
would say for Scorsese, Scorsese is very Dylan-esque, like Bob Dylan-esque in terms of he could do any song, he could do any movie. He's a chameleon. Martin Scorsese is a chameleon. People are like, oh, he does gangster movies. His
He's
part of his
adaptable. He's
part of
interested
his
in a lot of things.
filmography, he's done Kundun about the Dalai Lama. That's not something you would say. Martin Scorsese, Gangs in New York, to an extent, has elements that you would
Hmm.
assume, but not the first thing you'd think for Martin Scorsese. What else did he do?
Yeah, I mean, he's known for Good Casino and Goodfellas. That's just what he's
Casino.
known
Well, I mean,
for.
Casino,
I mean, to
Goodfellas,
somebody who
Mean
doesn't,
Streets,
know who he is.
Mean Streets, The Departed, Wolf of
Hmm.
Wall Street. Like
I
Wolf of
mean, yeah,
Wall
all
Street,
of those movies, but like that kind of
but
classic
also him,
Scorsese is what I mean.
him. Also, he's had a masterpiece every decade, like Dylan. The exception of the '60s.
Mm,
He had
yeah.
Taxi Driver in the '70s, Raging Bull in the '80s, Goodfellas in the '90s. He had The Departed in the 2000s, and Wolf of Wall Street 2010s. I haven't, I fell off. Not that I'm against watching
What is
his
he?
films. It's just some of his movies became longer, and I don't
I
know.
did see The Irishman. I
I didn't
think
see that. The
that was a long one. It was okay,
the
you know.
de-aging scenes of violence or the movements just didn't. I think I like
It
the
was
fact
quite
it was.
impressive the technology though that
I
how they
think
did it.
I think the moving. I think the motion was a problem for me, not the actual like. I saw that scene of him kicking the guy, and it just looked so bad, and it took
What
me
like a
out of it.
de-aged De Niro?
De-aged De Niro kicking a guy outside. It looked like an old man body kicking with a young face. Like it.
Oh, I see what you mean because it's still De Niro and
Yeah,
just how his
which
physicality. I see.
I also
I see.
laud.
Interesting.
I laud him and appreciate that he went out and said, "Let me try to do this." And Scorsese also compromised on going digital for editing and film. Didn't want to. Nolan does film, Tarantino does film. They have a cachet to do that. Scorsese likes making a lot of projects. Nolan and Tarantino make less movies because they only do one at a time.
So he's
Scorsese,
focused on quantity. Scorsese,
not
we're just
not
trying to.
necessarily quantity, like Ridley Scott. It's like certain. I think directors when they're higher in age, they have a fear of not having as many films left because directors at a certain age they
Oh,
just it's kind of like taking the keys away. Clint
oh, you're
Eastwood
saying
recently
making a
this
movie
Clint
every year or
like
kind of frequently. You mean?
Clint Eastwood, Woody Allen are the first of their age to make it to that age and still direct. Billy Wilder was still there. They just didn't let him direct a movie for the last 20 years of his life. They wouldn't let him. Not that he couldn't. It's just you're also a director. You're in your 80s. Do you want to give a $18 million? Well, that's being nice. $100 million project to someone.
Was that Coppola? But he's been self-producing, right?
No, Coppola's still producing. Coppola has a whole trajectory onto his own. Because Scorsese was part of the filmmakers that came up during Roger Corman. Yeah, he came up during that first class of students that grew up with film like in their homes. I would say like film was a thing
Because
you went to
of
television,
television and,
right?
and home video.
They're the boomers. They grew up with the cable
Hmm.
television. They saw movies on
Right.
repeat. So De
Because they
Palma,
would syndicate. They would, they'd
yeah,
be in a theater and then they
they
would show on television. Okay.
they were going to the first film schools, and the things like what the hell we're
Because
going?
before they didn't have a film
Yeah,
school.
it's like
They were
it's
just
like in 5 years they have a social media school, which is not idiotic. It sounds idiotic, but it's
okay. I
not.
see where you're
It's
going with
not.
that. Yeah.
That's-
Okay.
But think of that, and
They probably have
Coppola,
like social media studies or something as a major, but yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Coppola was the first to break through, and then he hit it big. He also hit it the worst. They all had different trajectories. Spielberg hit it the biggest, the best, the longest.
Yeah.
Martin hit it the most unique and hit the most corners and probably influenced the most people. I would say he's the most influential of all of them. Like Spielberg probably had the most audience, but in terms of influenced directors, Spielberg is up there, but Scorsese, there's even if people have problems with Spielberg's Disneylandish, very positive, Scorsese can get anyone because he
Softer themes. I mean, he's got some edge. I mean, but it's
but
just a little. It's not as
Scorsese
edgy.
could do a softer theme movie as well. Scorsese did Hugo, which I loved. And Hugo is a love letter to George Méliès, who is one of the fathers of film in the 1800s and 1900s. Trip to the Moon. That's what Hugo's about. It is a wonderful movie, and that's when he went to digital, and then he couldn't go back after that because I think of budgeting because he wanted to do a 3D movie. And Marty is still trying things. He's trying AI.
Is
He
he?
got, yeah, oh, he got one. The thing that he probably got the most flack for is his commentary on Marvel movies being not cinema. He compared
Right.
them to amusement parks. I don't disagree with what he was trying to say, but at the end of the day, it's old
I
man
mean, it's a
yelling at a
different
cloud.
generation.
It's old man yelling at a
Different,
cloud.
different
Old man
genre, different generation. Obviously, people love the Marvel movies. I think what the heck
frustration, frustration and
this.
jealousy. It seeps in, and the thing is, Martin Scorsese is human like all of us, and sometimes
Yeah, and he wasn't
elements.
like a blockbuster type of
No, exactly.
director
But
anyway. But you're
and
saying there's some
certain
kind of
directors
feelings he
sometimes say
has.
things that are like, all right, that like Tarantino randomly just started ripping into Paul Dano. He didn't do anything to him. He's like, yeah, he's a terrible
You know,
actor.
yeah,
Like,
because it's like the thing is, you're now or have been a public figure, and
yeah.
you're having feelings and thoughts. So it's just like watch what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
social or
Mm-hmm.
interviews, unless you
Mm-hmm.
really are going to stand by it behind it. But if you regret it later, it's like,
Yeah,
wow,
and
if words matter. They could you could just drop a ton of subscribers or followers because they're just
and
like, I don't agree with what
a
he's
lot
saying.
a lot of I'd say younger, more easily influenced people might just turn them off because I
Yeah, they might not, they may know a movie here and
still
probably
and
Wolf, but they didn't grow up
they're
with him or
impressionable because they're like, oh,
right.
he's taking a poop or taking a dump on my Marvel movies. Who is this? Who is this dinosaur?
Which I couldn't believe. I think with Spider-Man, I didn't even know that's coming out. I mean, that shows
Oh, I
how
saw it.
how
Oh,
into
it's
it
great. That the
is it.
last one, yeah, last one came out 5 years ago. That's another thing. The last one
Five.
with
Wow.
Tom Holland. So Tom Holland's been
Wow.
Spider-Man for a decade. If that makes like
But
he
they've now just a tangent, and then they how many is it over 30 movies or 40 of MCU movies?
probably.
I think I saw in an
I know
article. I'm
18
like,
at
are
least. I know
you
there was 18
serious?
for Infinity War, and they probably had at least 10
Wow.
since.
Wow.
But they
Um,
also they ramped the numbers up a lot since 2018, and the
yeah.
quantity did not match the quality.
Kathy
And
has a comment. Billy Bob Thornton has his own production school.
I believe so. I mean,
I don't know that. Yeah, I mean,
I
he's a
would.
student of the craft. I mean, I think what he had that show or has that show looks cool. What, Landman, or is it? Was it?
Hmm. I like Billy
Which
Bob.
is by what Taylor Sheridan or something, who's like a really on a streak with this because he made Yellowstone.
Hmm. Hmm.
Which sorry to listeners, I did not see the whole thing, but it was just you just with kids, you're just trying to see what you can. But awesome talent, awesome shows here. But all right, back to Scorsese. Let me just get this out as far as Color of Money, because I know we started on that. Yeah, I know we're having a
That's
good
where we
time.
started. I know.
Yeah, it was now 40 minutes ago.
That's all right.
But it was just my own personal thing. I like kind of aging men that
Yes.
were known as top of the game, a competitor. And I guess here Paul Newman's character in Color Money was a hustler, a billiards, pool player,
Hmm.
really good. And
He was a
you know,
hustler.
and he saw the next generation of talent and wanted to bring him in and kind of helping him with the hustling games. And then he saw that Cruz was perhaps better than him, really good. He didn't like his attitude, but I mean, the attitude, notwithstanding, it was just like his talent. And then he's starting to question his own abilities. They kind of had a scene where his eyesight was kind of failing,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And meanwhile, just there's the people in his personal life. I don't know if it gets much attention. I mean, he had a girlfriend in there who just wanted him to take it easy, relax. You worked hard in your life, you got money set aside, you know, enjoy it. And he's like, of course, like a lot of men, no, I'm going,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to go on
Mm-hmm.
with this. But they didn't kind of, draw it. But I think at the end, I think, they kind of reconciled, and I think it seemed like he made some kind of peace a little bit with himself, but he still was competing because that was the ending. He wanted to, um, I mean, because I think it was like it was close, and then it was distant with Tom Cruise, his protege, and then it finished with like he was losing, and then he wanted to kind of win again. But there was also a very powerful scene in there. I don't know. I don't think it was his first movie, but certainly an earlier role. Forrest Whitaker was in
Mm-hmm.
just that one scene where he plays kind of like this aw shucks kind of pool player, but you learn throughout that he's actually a hustler himself, and he hustles Paul
Mm-hmm.
Newman, and
Yep. And
he
then, oh
lost a
yeah,
lot of money,
that scene, yeah.
and Newman kind of acknowledged it, and just there was almost a respect there. It was tense for a moment,
Mm-hmm. But
but
yeah,
he's like,
yeah.
"Shit, I just got played here," and
The player got played.
it was just so yeah. Just as the movie was about Cruz, it was about Newman as far as their development, as far as and just to give some acknowledgement with Cruz, him and his girlfriend. I guess they were this tag team. I forgot her name. She was in the Abyss, I think.
Okay.
Um,
Hair's coming to my mind for some reason. Like
yeah, the hair, the big hair,
hair
but the
comes to
curly
mind,
hair.
face comes to
Yeah,
mind. I'm like the
yeah.
name.
Um, Pretty actress. There was even a scene where in there it's like I don't know what the heck she was doing or the intent, but flirting with Newman, and Newman's like, "Come on, let's just do it here. All right, you want to keep playing with me? Let's, you know." And he kind of called her on it, and it's just like, "All right, just drop the act. Okay, you're
Yeah.
here for him.
Yeah.
Don't be playing these games with me. All right, we are a trio here. So
Mm-hmm.
just kind of that dynamic. I don't know. I think you had me see that, and I just really love that freaking movie. I don't know. It's just like you
I
say,
think
Psycho two.
I think that was like a shock, but at the same time, I'm not too familiar with The Hustler. I don't think I've seen it.
And I
That's
love I love Newman. He's such a I mean, just he's a handsome
yeah.
actor. I love this gravelly voice, a maturity to him. You
Have you
totally see
seen
why he's a movie star.
The
Uh,
Sting?
I don't know. Is that
Oh, you
Redford?
that's Redford, Paul Newman, and then Robert Shaw's the bad guy. Oof.
I don't
Oof.
know, but
I
yeah,
think
that
you
certainly
would love
sounds cool. Well, of course, yeah,
you
Shaw and Redford, yeah,
and Newman.
yeah, and
You
of
got
course, my,
Robert
my man
Shaw.
Newman, right? Yeah,
And then the supporting cast is it's incredible. It's one of
yeah.
those feel good movies. What's crazy is Scorsese. You know what he did right after Color of Money? It was another movie that he wanted to work on, and it's funny because the experience and the execution isn't too dissimilar to one of his friends. It is The Last Temptation of Christ, something he wanted to work on for a significantly long time.
Defoe, yeah,
Yes,
that's
Defoe.
Christ, crazy,
Now, what's so
crazy son of a bitch. I
crazy?
love it. That's what.
I I don't think he's
I'm not sure
crazy.
if I really remember the freaking movie. I know it was
I
good, but
don't think
just
he's
Defoe's
crazy.
performance
I
was
don't
just
think
like
he was crazy. I think it was a good performance.
it's just
So
intense. He's intense. That's all. I just think it was
Paul,
crazy. I just love Defoe.
Paul Schrader wrote this movie. Peter Gabriel did the soundtrack, and
Wow,
yeah, this was
the
one.
soundtrack for
Yeah, David,
Christ movie.
David
Wow.
Bowie's in this. Hey, Harvey Keitel, Harry Dean Stanton
Actually in it or like
in it.
performing?
No,
Okay.
he's no David Bowie. Well, David
Oh.
Bowie would act sometimes. It was one
Yeah.
of and he wasn't bad. And I think his best was
He
Tesla.
did a
That's my
movie I
favorite.
didn't see with Labyrinth. I don't.
It's not
What was
bad.
that?
That's you should watch. That's a fun
Is
one.
that
It's a good '80s nostalgic. Um, but the Last Temptation of Christ, he wanted to work on that for a while. I think over a decade, and that's why a lot of times with directors, there's a
why
line that
is that? Just kind of
so
he
you
liked
want
the
so
biblical
you're
story. Clearly, I mean,
so have you ever gone for a job interview and then or multiple jobs and then one gets back to you and one gets back to you later? Thing with filmmakers is they don't plan their they I've heard this, they don't plan their careers. They take what's available. So sometimes they're developing
oh
something.
yeah,
Hey, you
yeah.
need to shoot this for April to May. Okay, cool. But then you need to do this from June to July. Cool. But can I still do Superman 3? Yes, but it's going to be tight. All right. And then sometimes there's a delay. Someone breaks a leg. Push back Superman 3. We lost Jerry Goldsmith as our composer. All right, let's get John Williams. That's the movie industry, and it's who can show up at that time, who's
A
going to
lot of
greenlight
moving
it.
parts,
Yeah,
availability,
that's why it's
timing,
like
luck.
who's in charge of the studio,
Wow.
and he wanted to get that made for a long time. Same way De Palma wants to get Casualties of War. Casualties of War came out '89. Last Temptation came out '88. Both did not
Okay,
do.
so these are like the movies they
Both
really want
both
to make versus they're just doing it for a
they wanted
studio.
to make it, and it didn't really go out the way they wanted. And
Did
De
that not
Palma,
do well?
mm,
Temptation,
I don't know. Critically, it was controversial because you're doing a movie about Christ, so
right?
that's always gonna ruffle,
Yeah,
and especially The
I
Last
think like the
Temptation.
Passion of the Christ wasn't
The
that.
book, there was a book, The Last Temptation, which was extremely controversial because it was just remember spoilers for anyone who's seen the movie. The devil is actually played by a little girl. If speaking of that hustler moment, that's
Hmm.
kind of the twist of the movie. The just a lot of moving parts getting movies made, and then just the after effects. Like Goodfellas came out after, so Scorsese bounced back quickly. Bonfire of the Vanities is what De Palma walked into. So sometimes you can have a failure, but you need to have a quick win right after. It's when you have multiple failures that it's kind of like
So what was Goodfellas? That was after what?
Last Temptation, 1988, 1990. And
Oh, okay,
then,
that was the late. Okay, the late
but
80s. Then he started working on
Scorsese,
that.
so back to New York, New York, the movie was such a flop. Like it did so bad. It was trashed on. It's later been retroactively, but it was nobody
Acclaimed.
understood what he. Yeah, like not. It's not a masterpiece. It's a well-made movie. It was so bad, and everyone was calling him a has-been. And this was the same decade he made, Taxi Driver. He's been called a has-been. He was very into cocaine, and
Hmm.
attempted it on his own life, and it's bizarre because he and Akira Kurosawa both made attempts on their life, both failed, and they both did it because they made a movie that didn't connect with audiences. Like both.
Oh, they felt like a failure.
And Kurosawa had made lots of movies up until that point. Scorsese was still very early into his career. He had done Mean Streets, Taxi Driver, Alice Doesn't Live Here. All of those were hits in the 70s. Like that's a good resume. Alice Doesn't Live Here having a sitcom that
And then
lasted
somehow,
so
like I guess, what critics or the
right,
just
and
were ruthless on him for a movie that just whatever
it,
reason just didn't do well at the time.
and then Robert De Niro, like I think, had the LaMotta book or script or something, and then he was visiting,
He brought that to Scorsese.
like in the hospital, like on his deathbed, like
So
he
he attempted suicide, and he was in the hospital, and De Niro visits
recovering.
him.
De Niro visits him, and he's like,
Wow.
but it's almost like you're gonna make. He's like, I need you to make this movie, and I had a moment like that, not that extreme, but where somebody basically came up to me and asked me to come back to making videos. Like it wasn't direct,
Hmm.
very polite, but after the effect, and I'm
A
like,
fan,
holy,
a supporter.
yeah, and De Niro and him changed the world with Raging Bull. That movie is, I'd say
Wow. So I'm
Scorsese's
sure they have a
that's his best movie.
probably a close
That
relationship.
oh yeah, well that you saw that the Leonardo and that commercial with Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro and Martin Scorsese. There's definitely history there, and they are good friends.
Hmm.
And De Niro, De Palma, like they all knew each other. Spielberg and De Palma, you remember that from the Bonfire Vanities book.
Hmm.
they all kept in touch, and that's the other thing. These they boo each other's spirits, like kind of like on Substack. So just imagine there's no internet, and you're like, you released your fourth novel, and it's terrible. Everyone hates it, and like someone's like, no, it's
You just have this
that
kind of community
that low point, yeah. And what
with
makes it,
filmmakers, actors.
and you want to talk about what brings these two artists who were at this low point and failed at a movie and then failed at taking their own lives. Kurosawa eventually cast Scorsese in a movie to play Vincent Van Gogh. It was a very quick scene, but
Really,
Martin
I
Scorsese
could see that.
appears as an actor in an Akira
Wow.
Kurosawa movie. It was in the 90s. It was one of his last movies, but I thought that was so cool.
Just as what a respect. He liked him. He wanted to
Oh,
work
there
with him
was
somehow.
well, yeah, mutual respect. Francis Ford Coppola and Spielberg had helped produce a Kurosawa movie. They helped De Palma. Like that's the thing. They
Because yeah,
sometimes
you said he's a Japanese director. Uh, he's Japanese. He's a Japanese director that has an American style.
very Western influence. Other Japanese director movies don't feel anything like it, and you might not connect to them as well. Not that they're not well made, but you watch a Kurosawa movie, you're like, I'm watching Star Wars. Because you are watching
Hmm.
Star Wars. And
Just okay.
his major influence though was John Ford. John Ford did westerns. John Ford was Akira Kurosawa's idol, and he was able to meet him in his lifetime. And Kurosawa started wearing dark glasses, like sunglasses, but actual prescription, because John Ford wore them.
Kind of imitating him. Wow.
No,
Hmm.
and the most full, and he met. There's I don't know if this is official, but I've read it a few times. When they met each other, John Ford said, "You use a lot of rain in your pictures." And Kurosawa smiled and says, "You've been watching." And that was kind of it. It's like that
Yeah, kind of
level,
a
that
clue.
said,
Like I'm
that
I'm
line said,
noticing your work. Yeah.
almost like you were saying with the Color of Money when he was fooled, but they didn't have to have this whole long monologue of their
Yeah.
feelings. You
Just known.
saw it all, and even me telling you the story, you didn't even need to see that happen, but you could have pictured it. It's that effective, and probably,
Some things they're just best. You can't even say anything, but
yeah.
it's nice when somebody who was
Hmm.
kind of like a spiritual mentor, somebody you looked up to, has
And
watched your movies.
like
You know,
when you say Scorsese, does he have a style? I don't think he has like a house style. He has tropes, but you look at Irishman, Goodfellas, Casino. They're not the same movie. They have the
yeah, they're
same
definitely
actors,
different. Yeah, different
and
feels, definitely.
same writers wrote Goodfellas and Casino. Nicholas Pola Nick. I can't say his last
Pelegi,
name.
is that his
Yes,
name?
yeah, he wrote. Nicholas wrote both of them. Those have a lot in common. Like that always felt like some sort of duology. And
Hmm.
I don't know if you mentioned it, the Frank Vincent Joe Pesci
Yeah.
rivalry. It was
Yep.
Raging Bull, and it just escalates
Yeah. Let's
throughout it.
talk about that for the audience.
All
Let's
right,
see
we're
if.
gonna talk about a random thematic trilogy based on the workings of two famous comedian, not famous comedians, but they would have been in vaudeville. Frank Vincent and Joe Pesci actually were a comic team, and they
I
appeared.
couldn't believe it when you told me that. I just.
They appear. Joe Pesci, everyone knows, but Frank Vincent, most people may not know, or they know him from The Sopranos, but he's been in a lot of things. And he appears in three movies with Joe Pesci, sometimes as his friend, sometimes as his arch
It was
nemesis.
always. But
But
just like.
they were a comic team in real life for
Oh my
years
God.
and years, and they worked together so well, and they fought each other even better. And just the escalation of violence in Raging Bull was intense, and then it got even worse in
Yeah,
Goodfellas,
everybody
where
knows the Billy Bat scene. Get your shine box.
everybody, and then of course they always have the scene of them
But what was
holding.
but Raging Bull? Okay, I think he was just a mob guy.
Oh yeah,
Pesci
Raging Bull
was
was just a
LaMotta's
mis.
brother,
It was a
and
misunderstanding.
I think
Raging
he
Bull was the
thought
least.
Vincent was flirting with
Yes.
De Niro's LaMotta's wife.
Hmm.
I don't know, but he certainly was getting chummy with her, or trying to and then he starts whacking him with his
Hmm.
pole outside and
Hmm.
smashing a door on him.
I love when they're forced to make up. and
Yeah,
he has the cast and
yeah,
Nicholas
because it's
Colas.
like they're doing business together. He's got to take a fall. That's what they want Lamont
That's
to
it.
do, so he gets the title.
Nick,
He
Nick,
refused, right? But then eventually,
and then he
you know.
stands up. He's like, "Hey, yeah, be careful." Okay, there's nothing going on. I always love that scene just because I love Nicholas Colasanto, who was on Cheers as Coach. He is my favorite character, despite only being in 3 seasons. This is one of his last acting film
He was in
performances.
there. What was his role in?
He was the mob boss. He was the guy that was talking to Pesci and Vincent. Forget it.
Oh yeah.
That's Coach,
Oh my God. Yeah.
and
I'm done.
he was I love just loved him and his philosophy and Marty working like Marty's pretty old, not old. He's up there, and I love the fact that he connects to so many like just pivotal points in cinema. Like
Hmm.
he like Goodfellas, Last Temptation of Christ, Casino. He was there in the '90s. Like Casino came out the same year as Goodfellas, not good as Toy Story and GoldenEye. Like just to give you
Yeah, that was
perspective,
a year.
he was,
95. Yep.
and we've only talked about Scorsese.
Yeah, we're doing
Uh,
a part two. I
no,
mean, this is this.
but
Yeah, this is.
I'm just saying, thus far, you want to talk about style. We've only talked about his narrative feature films. We have not talked about any of his documentaries, and he has done a lot of documentaries.
Really?
He's done a
Tell me about. I didn't know that.
He's done a George Harrison documentary. He's done two on Bob Dylan. I think he might have done with Bruce Springsteen. Because sometimes when you're directing documentaries, you're not shooting all the footage, or you're just composing it. Like that's
So
sometimes
what's the motive there? I mean, like, how does that work? Does somebody write how they're gonna go, or they just do a lot of interviews and then obviously they're splicing it together? They're looking
each
for a
one
sort of vibe.
each documentary is different. One of the best, most personal, like top person, like if you want to just talk about profile of a human being, is Crumb, uh, from '94. The guy spent 5 years with him, and they cut it down to 2 hours. But he would just record, and then they figured it out later. So a lot of documentaries, they record, they see what they got, and then they put the story together later. And for Scorsese, in particularly with the Bob Dylan review story, which was on Netflix, they had recorded for years and years a lot of Bob, because a lot of Bob Dylan's old, so they want to get a lot of these recordings in. So they gave a lot of this footage to Martin Scorsese, and they had been working on it so long. So certain projects, I think they ask him, "Hey, would you mind going through this?" And he'll go with it through with it with Thelma Schumacher, who's been his editor since 1980. She's
Wow.
edited every movie, and he actually introduced her to her husband, who was Michael Powell, who was one of the Archers, famous British uh, duo, did beautiful films, very very good films. And Scorsese is just kind of like one of those people that's just been around and has access to so many things. If you watch,
But that's interesting. Just to back up the relationship with the editor,
yeah,
in such a long period of time, because this is the person that's helping you put together the final film,
same person,
and it's a trust there. That's a
46 years.
you have a sort of what is it, the director's vision, kind of
They speak the
knowing.
same language, and
You
they
just kind of
kind of
get a
know.
sense of, of
And
when a
then,
scene may not work.
oh yeah,
You
or
know,
just which takes. And that's another thing. I saw they pointed this out, and Scorsese is one of the people that doesn't give a shit. Goodfellas, there's a scene with Paul Sorvino's character, and he's talking, and it's a shot, reverse shot. One scene, there's a cigar in his mouth, and then the next cut, it's not in his mouth.
hmm
Very obviously looking at it, but Scorsese knew the best take was not the one that was going to be clean for the editing, and he's like, I don't give a shit. And Scorsese, along with De Palma, Spielberg, are
so they
aware.
took two takes together, and like one of them had a cigar, one he didn't, or whatever.
Right,
The
but
continuity.
they go for the performance over continuity, and
Okay, he like knew it, but it's just like, you know what, this is making a better movie here. It's just
yeah.
like,
And there's a theory where you think, are we going for complete naturalism, or are we like this is reality, or it's a movie, And Brian De Palma always say film is lies 24 frames per second. It's all lies. So he's like, well, this isn't real. None of it's
wow.
real. No, it's that It's kind of like
I'm just not forgetting that this is artwork. Yeah.
best way Hulk
It's
Hogan.
like,
Hulk Hogan Rocky 3. What he's saying to him as he's doing it, he is demonstrating what the business is. Even though he's being aggressive in it, but he's like,
yeah, and then the debrief afterwards, he's calm. He's like, "That's the name of the game." It's like,
and
okay, would have been nice to know beforehand. That's what Rocky's thinking, but it's just like, well,
well,
that's what
well,
helps with
Rocky's
the audience and the
well,
effect, and
Rocky wasn't a wrestler, so he
you didn't have a
wasn't
clue.
smart
Yeah,
enough to, he wasn't smart enough to kayfabe.
catch me.
Yeah. But a
Oh
Scorsese
my.
movie that I think I want to talk about that I don't think we mentioned because I know we have a few minutes left.
Yeah, let's
Uh,
let's end on whichever one you're going to bring up, and then we'll definitely close out. And we'll have a part two next week. I
there's this little two-part thing here, but you want to talk about his voice. So certain shows, movies, you could tell when the director's writing if you know the director well enough for their interests. Like De Palma wrote himself for Dress to Kill. He wrote himself as Keith Gordon. Harvey Keitel has basically been Martin Scorsese when he talks about music. Martin Scorsese is a huge music fan, and if you look through all of his movies, he's got excellent taste in music, very eclectic taste in music, very into rock and roll, very into soul, very into this, very into that. His love of classic, modern, future, The Aviator is such an underrated movie. It's not one that I would say is mentioned too often unless people like the film. It's about Howard Hughes, and
mhm.
another Howard Hughes movie, and even Christopher Nolan wants to make a Howard Hughes movie. What I like so much about
Yeah,
it
he's
is
like a kind of an eccentric figure.
eccentric millionaire that decided to make a movie, buy a film studio, and also have just and build his own plane. Like the and
What did he have?
Leonardo,
Obsessive compul. He had
yes,
something. He had
mm-hmm,
some kind of. It
yep.
was just very interesting. DiCaprio's
And then
performance in it,
I
really,
believe he
really
had a
good.
casino at some point. I don't really like
He's
the
had
later
his hand in a
stages.
lot of things. Yeah.
And like that's the foundation of Iron Man. And even in Leonardo
Yeah.
DiCaprio's career,
Hmm.
2004. This is 7 years removed from Titanic, and this is when Leo starts to become like he had Gangs of New York where with Martin,
Yep.
smaller, but this was huge. This is starring Martin Scorsese role, young Leonardo, and Leonardo DiCaprio really shed that. I feel he successfully shed that teen idol. Not that that's a bad thing to
Definitely.
be, but he got like I guess men's attention in terms of his
Yeah.
performance. And
He
I think
grew
that's
up.
always
He could do
important.
mature roles,
Yes,
not the teen heartthrob, which obviously fine. Titanic was huge.
and Aviator really did that
Everybody
for
knew
him.
fucking Titanic. Everybody.
Aviator did that for him, and even
Oh,
the
so that was
process.
his. That was the
I
one that
feel like
kind
that
of
was
helped.
one for at
Yeah.
least in Scorsese's canon, and in that time period in my life, like the DVD coming out. I just remember that period and the full screen, widescreen. There's
That was
also the
2004.
yes, that movie also goes. It changes film throughout the movie, where it's two strip up until a certain year, and then it goes to three strip because color was around before color films exist. It just didn't have legs. Sound films existed before sound films existed. It just didn't take off.
Hmm.
It was 1895 to 1927. I'm pretty sure they tried at least once.
Huh.
uh, a long period of time,
No, a color. Yeah. Hmm.
and a lot of the times it's the original process was a two strip color process, which looked fine, but if you look at it, you're like, this isn't color. And then Disney had the three strip, which had the reds, the greens, and it looked vibrant, like color before Disney cartoons, because he had the original patent. So when that year passes in the timeline of The Aviator, you actually see more colors in the movie. It's a subtle thing, but the early part of the
Oh,
yeah, the
like
early
he
part of
incorporates it in a movie.
the way the film is actually
It's phenomenal.
like yeah, it's one of those things, and
Wow.
I like that period in film, and you see how Howard Hughes is.
That's something like you could watch like a replay value
Yeah.
thing, like
Oh
just
yeah.
to
I mean, we
check
got
out an
next week.
Easter egg.
We have next week The Departed. If anyone wants to see that movie, just look for X's and tell us what it means. He took that
Huh.
from Scarface, 1932. Every time you see an X in that movie, just tell me what happens. Every single time.
Not good, right? Yeah.
Someone dies. That's it. Every
uh,
single time. Look for it. Look up that theory. It's a great video.
So is that's deliberately
Yeah,
in that
because
movie Departed? There's always an X
so
symbolizing something.
1932 Scarface, there was an X over every time someone died. It could be a shadow, it could be a window, even in the opening
However,
scene.
it was formed.
And it was a very creative thing, and that was Marty's nearly 70-year homage to it. He can reference,
Because it was like
do
a gangster movie. It
he can,
was,
but 1930s,
Departed.
and
Yeah.
he represents all periods. He's like a philosopher. He's someone I'd want at a library to talk to. And he, like Tarantino, is like a motor mouth, passionate,
Hmm.
and when they talk in movies, you know it's them. Like if you saw True Romance, Christian Slater's Quentin Tarantino. Full stop. When
I
he's
see. They're
talking,
kind of writing themselves or through a
Harvey
character in a scene or
Harvey
whatever.
Keitel in Mean Streets,
Hmm.
or Who's That Knocking on My Door? One of those two. It's the way he's talking about music to the girl. That is Martin Scorsese talking. Like full stop. If you've heard him talk about music, like okay, Harvey Keitel's doing a Martin Scorsese
Wow.
impersonation. That's a lot of times the actors realize that they're doing it. Jason Alexander realized George Costanza was Larry David. Originally, he thought he was playing it like Woody Allen. The first season, he plays it more like Woody Allen, and you could tell. And then he changes it to Larry David because he asked him. He's like, "No human would react like this." And then Larry's like, "What do you mean? That's exactly how I reacted." And then he was like,
Oh, you
"Oh,
mean like kind of the
that's how
absurdity of the
Jason
character?
Alexander figured out that
Oh,
he was playing one of
just
the
based on his
writers
reaction.
because he
Okay.
was just like, he's like, I'm sorry, this is a total rewrite. No human being is gonna react like this. And Larry David's like,
That's what Alexander said.
yeah, Larry
Wow,
David's like, what do you mean? That's exactly what I did.
that's
And then
fun.
knowing Larry David, you're like, yeah, that's probably what he did.
All right.
But
Well,
yeah,
okay, we've reached an hour. It's 10 o'clock here on the East Coast of the United States. So this was a good discussion. I think we just really scratched the surface of a couple of Scorsese's movies. Definitely
yeah.
want to talk about Wolf of Wall Street, Departed,
Talk about the
and
latter
into
half.
Goodfellas and
Yeah,
Casino,
I feel like we
um,
focused a lot about our early stuff.
even Gangs in New York. So yeah, we got stuff.
And
Cape
then Cape
Fear.
Fear, and that Cape Fear is a remake, and now there's another remake.
Yeah.
I think
Oh man, there's so
I
many
want
good ones
to
here.
long-term implant for the audience as well as you, Maddox. Stories that have been adapted more than once within an artist's author's lifetime. Out of curiosity, like Cape Fear, 1960, 1991, and then what we have today. But
We got to do another one, or they did
yeah,
one,
yeah, yeah.
a
It's a
miniseries.
TV show. You're a Thomas Harris fan, or I know you've liked his work or some of his work. They've did Manhunter, Red Dragon, and season 3 of Hannibal, and that was within like 30 years of the book. Just imagine
Yeah,
and not talking
yeah,
about
because
Dracula,
Hannibal's
public
just a
domain
legendary
stuff. I'm
character.
just
Yeah, we
saying,
just love
like
it.
that story, that Hannibal story has been adapted three
Yeah,
times. Isn't that crazy?
it
I
is
just want to
by
talk about
amazing
us,
actors too, and who played Lecter.
but
Um,
adaptations where everyone is actually enjoyable because you like what they brought to it. That's how I feel towards Batman. It's a whole nother show, but each show is good. It's not the best, but
hey, maybe we can have a show on Batman. I mean,
oh, that could be a
okay,
three-parter easily. I mean,
maybe
we
let's
could,
do that after Scorsese. I don't know. I mean,
yeah.
everybody loves Batman, so.
Oh,
All right,
you want to
everybody.
get your subs up. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I'm interested, you're interested. I mean, like,
All right.
Batman's just
He's
Batman.
the
I don't know. Everybody,
he's if Martin Scorsese was to do a superhero film, I could guarantee you he'd probably want to do a Batman film.
oh God, yeah.
That would
I
be up
don't
his
even
alley.
care what type of universe. Just make it.
He
Give him the money. Give him 200 million. And
It wouldn't be a Marvel Avengers movie, but I think he would
yeah,
be
probably not.
happy.
No.
But he
Yeah,
would be happy to attack Batman because I'm sure he can resonate with the lexicon.
and he's doing a comic book movie because I mean, certainly made a comment about Marvel. So let him have that. Let him have at it.
Yeah,
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We had nine. Looks like eight, nine folks.
that's pretty good.
Yeah. So
That's a high turnout.
I love it. So just let us know when this posts. Any ideas. What some of the things that you resonated with. We got some good comments from Benjamin Lightman, who seems like a real movie buff here. Really
He had me
cool.
with the goblin comment. I'm like, I knew
Wow,
he
just
was a real one.
yeah. Um, all righty. So thanks everybody for joining us, and have a good
See you
night.
next see you next week, guys.